Good morning and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works. Today is Wednesday, October 24th, 2018.
Commissioner Garcia, Vice President Repenning, Commissioner Davis, and Commissioner Jacinto are present. Vice President Repenning, we do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Sefi Wiles, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ramzi Sawaya, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Sharam Kiargani, LA Sanitation.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Pamela Ostrander, Bureau of Street Services.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Vice President Repenning, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. We did receive a speaker card on item number 7 for today's assessment hearing item.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. I'm going to close Neighborhood Council commentary. Is there a second to my motion to approve our minutes from our meeting of Wednesday, September 26, 2018, seconded by Commissioner Davis? Minutes will be approved. Items number 1 through 10 are street lighting assessment hearings. Ruben Flamenco.
Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting. Items 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and 10 pertain to lighting districts which we are creating in conjunction with private development projects. Item 4 pertains to a lighting district which we are creating in conjunction with MTA's Regional Connector Project. Item 6 pertains to a lighting district which we are creating in conjunction with MTA's Crenshaw LAX Transit Corridor Project. We have a correction on item number 9. Item 9 pertains to a lighting district which we are creating in conjunction with a Bureau of Street Services initiated pedestrian safety improvement project. This is not a community development block grant project as indicated on page 2 of the report. Ballots for items 1 through 10 were mailed on September 13, 2018. Ballots for items 1 through 5 must be received by the City Clerk's office by next Tuesday, October 30th. Ballots for items 6 through 10 must be received by the City Clerk's office by next Wednesday, October 31st. We have not received any objections to date with the exception of item 7 this morning. On item number 9, it wasn't an objection, but we did get some calls from some constituents who needed clarification. They had the impression that if they had voted no, that the existing street lighting was going to be removed. We immediately contacted these people, worked with the council office to clarify and inform them that if they vote no, the existing lighting system will remain. And we also communicated to these people that if they've already voted and would like to change their vote on the information to contact us, and we will provide them with a duplicate ballot.
So item number 9, which I had heard about as well from the neighbors in Eagle Rock, this one we are going to move forward with today, or should we continue it?
No, we're able to move forward.
Okay, so let me go ahead and call item number 7, which we have a speaker card for, and we'll hear that one separately. Ms. Heather Waldstein. Good morning.
Good morning, Vice President and members of the board. My name is Heather Waldstein. I'm with Rosenheim & Associates, 21600 Oxnard Street. I'm here on behalf of our client, WinCal LLC. Let me begin by thanking you for the opportunity to express our client's concerns regarding the proposed Prairie Winnetka Lighting Assessment District. It is our understanding that the new streetlights are proposed to accommodate new traffic signalization that our neighbors, MGA, are required to install. From our perspective, it would be more equitable that MGA pay for the full cost of infrastructure, equipment, and installation because it arises out of a necessity for their project. If the board would be agreeable to adjusting the assessment to exclude the cost of the new infrastructure, WinCal LLC would be agreeable to being assessed its proportionate share of ongoing maintenance and energy costs. Again, thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Commissioner Cinto.
Thank you, Vice President Repenning. Ruben, can I ask you a question? When we do these types of development projects, it's Bureau of Street Lighting initiated, and there's benefit regardless of where the cost, and there's a benefit for the lighting. Is this our normal procedure that we spread it out based on parcel and frontage?
Yes, typically if your public roadway or public sidewalk adjacent to your property or in front of your property is being illuminated, regardless of who's being responsible for constructing the streetlight, but if your sidewalk and public roadway are being illuminated adjacent to your property, then you're considered to be benefiting from that street lighting system and will be brought into the lighting district. We've had situations where developers in the past have offered to pay for other people's lighting assessments, but that's not feasible. It's assessed to the actual parcel and it's collected via property taxes. So that's not an option where we can allow the developer to pay for the benefit of a parcel adjacent to or next to their subject property.
Okay, so with our testimony from our constituent that asking or negotiating additional payment from the project of which this is arising from, have we done that in the past? Is there precedence of?
No, we have not done that in the past. It's always assessed to the benefiting property owners. And the neighbors in this particular case are benefiting from the street lighting system that the developer is required to install. We have to bring that neighbor into the lighting district and assess them separately.
Understood, thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and, I want to continue this one. I'd like to get the council office's feedback on this and see if there's a way to work with the developer to pay partially or entirely the cost of the new infrastructure with the neighbors agreeing to pay for the maintenance, and if that's...
Well, the developer is responsible 100% for the construction costs. The neighbor is only being assessed for the maintenance. That we cannot separate, and it's not been our precedent to separate. The construction cost is 100% by the developer. None of the construction cost is being passed over to the neighbor.
So, Commissioner Davis, Ms. Waldstein, I'm reading this letter, which I believe also comes from your firm. It sounds like the letter is agreeing to what adjusting the assessment to exclude the cost of the new infrastructure. WinCal LLC would be agreeable to being assessed its proportionate share of ongoing maintenance and energy. So, what are you asking for specifically?
That the cost of the construction be passed to the developer. And
it is to the developer. The neighbor is not paying any construction costs. This assessment is for the maintenance, the future maintenance of the streetlight that you're being required to install.
Okay, then we would agree that, that's
Okay.
what our letter says.
Win-win, done.
Thank you.
I love it. All right. Thanks. Motion on items number 1 through 10 from Commissioner Garcia, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Those items will be approved. Any objections to sending them forthwith? Hearing none, will do so. Let's take care of some administrative items at the end of our agenda, starting with agenda item 17. The Mayor and City Council have approved and authorized the Bureau of Sanitation on behalf of the Board of Public Works to execute the proposed personal services agreement with Ballard Marine Construction Incorporated to provide an annual and as-needed outfall inspections for the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant for a term of 5 years with 1 2-year renewal option at a cost not to exceed $1,050,000. I'll go ahead and make a motion. Seconded by Commissioners Davis and Garcia. The item will be approved. Any objection to sending it forthwith? Hearing none, will do so. Agenda item number 18. The Mayor and City Council have approved and authorized the Bureau of Engineering on behalf of the Board of Public Works to execute the amendment number 1 to 7 contracts for pre-qualified on-call environmental documentation and environmental specialty study service for an additional 3 years from September 30th, 2018 to September 29th, 2021 for a total of 8 years. I'll go ahead and move, seconded by Commissioner Davis. The item will be approved. Any objections to sending it forthwith? Hearing none, will do so. Agenda item 19, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids in Council District 10 for the Wilshire Area System Sewer Rehabilitation Work Order Number SZC13027, estimate $4,432,500, bid receipt date December 5th, 2018. Moved by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. The item will be adopted. Any objections to sending it forthwith? Hearing none, will do so. Agenda item number 20, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for invitation of bids in Council District 14 for the 6th Street Viaduct Replacement Project, bicycle and pedestrian facilities, and the 6th Street Viaduct Mission Myers Roundabout Project. Work order numbers E723-4F, E723-7F. federal number ATPL-5006-816, estimate $3,052,728, bid receipt date November 21st, 2018. I'll make a motion, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. The item will be adopted. Any objections to sending it forthwith? Hearing none, we'll do so. Returning to agenda item number 11 is with the Bureau of Engineering. And CD 14, this is a task order solicitation number EMGD-038, First and Broadway Civic Center Park Project, recommending the board authorize the city engineer to issue the task to AECOM, the pre-qualified on-call environmental documentation consultants list to provide environmental documentation services for the First and Broadway Civic Center Park Project as stated in task order solicitation number EMGD-038, with a budget authority of $178,561.20, which includes contingency.
Good morning, Vice.
Hi.
Good morning, Vice
Talmadge
President.
Jordan.
Yes.
Hi.
Good morning. Good morning, Vice President Reppening and the board. I'm Talmadge Jordan from the Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Management Group. The report before you is to request authorization to increase authority for environmental documentation services from $97,000 to just under $179,000 for the First and Broadway Civic Center Park Project. The First and Broadway Civic Center Park Project is a downtown Los Angeles park project with hardscapes, art installations, and a restaurant. The Bureau of Engineering issued an initial notice to proceed under the city engineer's authority to begin technical studies and drafting an initial study mitigated negative declaration for the FAB project, as it is known. From the 3 proposals we received, AECOM was selected as they were best suited to meet our expedited work schedule. They are able to provide 10.34% participation in minority-owned businesses and 25.43% participation in women-owned businesses. Key issues being analyzed under the initial study and mitigative negative declaration and associated technical studies are air quality impact issues from construction, noise impact issues from construction, cultural resources impacts, and traffic and parking impacts from once the project is complete. The project design provides no parking, and a parking variance will be sought from the Planning Department. The Bureau plans to seek public comments by the end of the year and finalize for City Council adoption in early 2019. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, Vice President Penning. Talmadge, is this your first time here?
Yes.
Good job. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Haze the people that come on the first time, but good job today. So First and Broadway, it's a very important project, and so this is for additional work that AECOM will do for the monitoring and environmental. And there may be a planning issue with the parking, and so that's going to go to the Planning Department too as well.
Yes, as you can see from the rendering in front of you, no parking is afforded, but we don't see any problems in seeking a parking variance from the Planning Department due to the many public transit options. The park is located directly across the street from us right now, and we should be able to offset the parking impacts and due to the infrastructure already surrounding the project.
The public will still be able to participate and comment on that too, right?
Yeah, we're seeking public comment by the end of the year. We plan to hold the information session in the Deaton Auditorium and go for council early next year.
Thank you for that, and just wanted to make note that AECOM did really well for the amount that of the TOS for the task order solicitation on the maybe minority and the women business at 10% and 25% for women business enterprise. So I'm sure our board appreciates that too as well. We do. So thank you, Talmadge.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you. I will echo your enthusiasm for this park coming online, Commissioner Jacinto. I think it's going to be a great addition. I personally am happy to see that it has more trees and more shade than we have in Grand Park, and so I think it'll be a different type of space than we have there, and I'm glad that we're not putting parking here. We shouldn't give up that important open space. You know, we have so much parking under City Hall that doesn't get used, and under the Civic Center that doesn't get used on the weekend or at night. So maybe there's something there. I have no further questions. Anyone? Moved by Commissioner Jacinto. I'll second, along with Commissioners Garcia and Davis.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your first board presentation. I think it went well.
Thank you, Vice President.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 12. This is CD9, task order solicitation number 9, South Park renovations project, recommending the board authorize the city engineer to issue the task to Tetra IBI Group Architecture Planning from the 2014 pre-qualified on-call architectural and related professional services consultants list to provide electrical design, construction administration services, and post-construction services for the project is stated in task order solicitation number 9 with a budget of authority of $180,000, which includes contingency. I'm looking for Iona June. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ioana Jun from Bureau of Engineering, Architectural Division. This board report is seeking the board approval to issue task order number 9 to Tetra IBI Consultant to provide electrical design services for South Park renovations project. South Park is located south of LA, as the name shows, and like 15 minutes, and is located in Council District number 9. As you can see in the rendering that you received, there is an aerial image showing how the park degraded in time. So Bureau of Engineering was asked to design and manage the project, the South Park renovation project. Architectural Division is providing in-house design for all the disciplines except electrical. That's why we issued in 2015 February task order solicitation number 9 to look for these electrical design services. And it was distributed to all the consultants list on pre-qualified on-call architectural. Three consultants submitted proposals, and based on the criteria in the task order solicitation, Tetra IBI was selected. I would like to mention that if you take a look at the rendering, this project is a complex project. Actually, we have a master plan, and there are many phases on the project. Because in the beginning we had a limited funding, an NTP in the amount of $82,807. It was issued to get services on 3 phases of the project. The design is finalized, and actually we have already one project construction finished. And right now we have in construction northeast and southeast project. In order for us to finalize, because we received already the rest of the funding necessary for the rest of remaining phases, we need the board approval of this board report for a total authority budget of $180,000 for the completion of electrical design on the project. I would like to also mention to you, if you look in the board report, I put 0% under MBE, WBE for the main consultant, because at the time of the selection, they were certified MBE, WBE with LA County. At the time, we assumed that's enough and it's acceptable. Later on, we found out that there is a difference actually between certifications, and City of LA does not recognize the certification. So at the time of the board report, they were in the process to get...
Which sub-consultant?
This is Pacific Engineers Group. They are actually the main consultant,
right.
Electrical consultant.
Yeah, and they're also an emerging business. I see here they're an EB.
Yeah, they had that. Yeah, they have emerging and SBE, but they didn't have W. Now I'm happy to report they got it. So they are 85% MBE certified with City of Los Angeles. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Davis.
That's good that they are MBE, WBE firm. However, when we count primes, we don't count primes in the diversity numbers on a project, though, right? Correct.
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
They're not the prime.
They are not the
sub,
prime.
but they
Yes.
have 84% of the
They
task,
are not.
So
I
it's
see.
one of
I
these
see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
where they're passing most of the work on.
Correct. They are not the prime.
Okay.
The prime is Tetra IBI. Yeah. Commissioner Cinto.
Thank you. You wanted, this is great, doing a site visit, South Park. It used to be one of the major parks, the South Park, right, for the city of Los Angeles?
Yes. That was actually, if you might be interested to know, the city bought actually the park in 1899. They transformed it into a garden. So it was a big glory of the park. And now everybody is interested, the mayor, the council, Rec and Park, to bring this to the previous glory.
You bet, you bet. And so, again, seeing the colonnade of the palm trees, and we've had some other tosses on this.
Yes.
The question I have is that this will do it for the electrical, and we'll handle everything else.
Correct.
Design in-house.
Yes.
So kudos and congratulations to the Bureau for having this scope of work. I think the master plan is great, and how it's laid out in different phases, and we can bring some of these different components online. The client then would be the
Recreation and Parks.
Recreation and Parks.
Yes.
So the Bureau continues to do work for another department, and that's a great sign of the competency of our Bureau. So I'm happy that the Bureau's doing this.
We are too.
You
It's
are
an
too.
interesting project.
Let's bring it back to its glory. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Garcia.
Thank you, Vice President. I just have a very basic question. What's the timeline? I know we're just starting with the phases, but do we have a projected end timeline? Because this is such a great project that we're doing out in that area.
Yes, thank you for the question. Actually, what we are doing, we are trying to coordinate the funding timeline with the project.
Got it.
So that's initially, for example, the maintenance yard right now is in bid process. It's, I think, number 4. It's in...
Over here.
This project was initially thought to be built right after the number 1, the synthetic field. But because we got new funding for Prop 1C, then they changed a little the order of the projects. And actually, the funding is kind of driving what we need to do, because we're going to lose the Prop 1C next year in June. So the funding is very important for us. Timeline, like 2020, I would say.
Got it.
For
Okay.
now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the completion date for the project, you said, is?
So the schedule we have right now, it's around 2020, 2021.
For the design,
For
master plan?
No, I'm saying for to start construction on the last one with B, yeah. And because, like I said, the funding issues, the promenade probably is going to be the last one in front of the recreation center. I'll need to check the number.
Great. Well, as we're looking at this, CD9, Dr. Karagani, we sometimes have infiltration opportunities in that part of town, so we should be looking at whether it's an opportunity to do some stormwater infrastructure as well. Okay. Yes. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion on this item, seconded by Commissioners Garcia and Davis. The item will be approved, and Commissioner Cinto as well. It's unanimous. If Commissioner James were here, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he probably would have also voted to approve it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Any objections to sending it forthwith? Hearing none, the item will be approved and sent forthwith. Agenda item number 13, advisement number 1, amendment number 2 to task order solicitation number SN6, CH2M Hill Engineers Incorporated, recommending the board, number 1, authorize the Director of Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to issue amendment number 2 to task order solicitation SN6 to CH2M, increasing the budget by $6,558,000 from $10,200,000 to $16,758,000, which includes a $750,000 contingency to fund the continuation and expansion of the following Recycla program-related services: program implementation support, citywide media outreach, diversion and disposal compliance tracking system development, waste composition studies, and facilities certification and compliance system development. Note, the term of engagement for this TOS remains unchanged. This TOS is effective until July 22nd, 2019, with an option of a 5-year extension through July 22, 2024, contingent upon approval by the Board of Public Works of the renewal of the parent contract as authorized by the Council File CFB-0949-S1. This is continued from Wednesday, October 10th, 2018. Mr. Dan Myers from LA Sanitation.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dan Myers, LA Sanitation with the Solid Resources Commercial Franchise Division. This TOS was developed to assist LA San with the development, transition, and implementation of the Recycla program. The Recycla program, which is the largest program of its kind in the nation, changed the collection of solid resources and recycling at multifamily and commercial businesses. This program was necessary to meet the goals of the city. Goals included improvements to our environment, including improvements to our air, the goal of diverting waste from landfills, providing the highest level of customer service, and providing our businesses and our large multifamily complexes the ability to actually comply with state-mandated requirements for source-separated recycling. Preparation for the Recycla began in 2014 with the program really beginning in early 2017, transition occurring between July 2017 and February of 2018. We're just getting off of our transition. We're now in the implementation, optimization phases of the program. Under this TOS and the resources provided under this TOS, CH2M was able to assist LA San with customer transition into Recycla. This task order includes providing support for the Recycla proposal evaluations, contract negotiations, outreach and education, including launching a media campaign, event coordination, development of collateral material and translation services, developing of a diversion compliance tracking system, waste composition studies, and the staffing necessary to support the program. I'd like to take a minute and focus on the staffing component. Staffing component is one of the major pieces of this TOS. When the staffing plan was approved by City Council for the Recycla program, it approved a number of full-time city staff. It also provided for a number of contracted staff to be brought into the program to not only get us through some of the peaks of transition, but also allow us to actually establish, matrices and truly the requirements of what's needed for full-time city staff. During transition, we had to respond to a number of challenges, including a large volume of calls for miscollections and billing inquiries. And as a result, through this TOS, we were able to expeditiously respond to staffing needs. Specifically, we were able to bring on additional staffing for our customer care center, field inspections, and the development of a new billing review unit. I draw your attention to the board report, the graph on page 4. This graph shows that we had initially planned on bringing in 16 contracted staff for our customer care center. As we progressed through the implementation and even into, transition and into implementation, we actually identified a need for 41 additional call center staff that was brought in through this TOS. The goal of the city is to, whenever possible and necessary, to convert those contracted staff positions into full-time city positions and do that through the budget process. And in fact, in our 17-18 budget, we received 41 additional full-time staff positions for our customer care center. So as those staff are brought on, they're trained on the number of different programs, and then actually on the phones, on calls, that we will reduce the number of contract staff. That's really what the graph shows. As we bring on full-time city staff, the number of contracted staff will then go down thusly. In addition to that, we now have enough supporting documentation, we believe, to support a budget package for the additional 16 contracted staff that are in the customer care center. We've prepared a budget package for the 1920 budget year, and we'll be submitting that for approval. If I also draw your attention to the hiring graph on, I believe, the following page of the board report, this graph shows that we'd also brought on initially 15 contracted field inspection staff. Now, this is in addition to the 24 full-time staff approved in our staffing plan. But as we progress through the transition, we actually identified the need for quite a few additional staff. During the transition, we brought on an additional 23 staff to not only address billing concerns, work with customers in the field, do field checks. Those staff we're not looking at bringing on to a full-time status, really just needed through the transition. But we are preparing a budget package for 15 full-time inspection staffs in this coming budget cycle also. So again, the goal to, as soon as we have enough supporting documentation to support full-time staff, to move those to full-time. We also didn't anticipate really at all the need for a billing unit. So, but as we went through implementation, we definitely felt there was a need for the city to be able to represent the customers and with their billing inquiries, billing concerns, or disputes with our service providers. So again, through this TOS, we established a billing unit, and that billing unit, it will also translate into a budget package in this coming fiscal year. In conclusion, due to the complexities of the Recycla program and to meet the rise in the Recycla-related workload and meeting the challenges and demands, we're requesting that the board approve this second amendment to this TOS.
Okay. I'll go ahead and start. So this, essentially what we're doing here is as the program rolled out, we recognized the need for, there were certain things that we needed more help with. One of them was more inspectors in the field. One of them was more staff at the customer call center, more help with communication. So a lot of this is addressing kind of the additional funding that's been needed since the implementation of the program first began to address some of the challenges that we began facing as different elements of the program rolled out. And I know, we continued this item because we wanted to have a discussion based on an inquiry from our labor partners specifically about the call center. And, our call center has been kind of a growing unit of sanitation. We were faced a couple of years ago with very long wait times. Then we introduced Recycla, and so the volumes have been up a lot, and I think we've needed additional help. Now that the volume is stabilizing and we have a better sense of the amount of work that we're going to have going forward, we are beginning the process of phasing out, we're fully in the middle of the process of phasing out the contract workers from the call center. We have 40 new budget positions in this year's budget, which you guys are trying to hire for. We talked about the challenges of hiring for those and the fact that we often train people for our call center and then they get hired away by DWP, which pays a better wage, and some of the issues there. which are real. And but I think that we have a good discussion about the plan going forward. And so bringing this here before the board today. Commissioner Davis.
First, I wanted to say that obviously this project in and of itself is critically important to the board. When we first supported it, we felt that it was a project demonstrating excellence in terms of the city's opportunity to go out and to create economic opportunity for haulers, not only the big traditional haulers, but also to include some of the more moderate and smaller haulers in the process. But equally, we felt very strongly that the citizens of Los Angeles would benefit from this project as well, specifically in terms of employment. I like the vision that we are beginning to implement as it relates to the transition between contract staff and then making sure that they are placed in permanent positions. So I have to ask you, as we look at what some of the concerns we have as a board, in those that we are hiring in those jobs, are we making sure that we have women and minorities as a part of that group as well?
We do. We have a very diverse group in all areas, and the call center and our field staff and in our billing unit. We made sure that we actually brought in for both our call center and for our field staff bilingual staff in multiple languages. So we definitely considered that in the process. And to build on that, we're working very hard to make sure that the contracted staff that we've brought in, that we try to give them a direct pathway to the full-time city positions that are created. We've gone as far as to working on the new bulletin for the environmental compliance inspectors to try to ensure that the work that they've performed, and by the time the bulletin comes out, it'll be a year and a half worth of work they've performed, actually should count towards experience that allows them to be brought into the position. So we're working hard to make that transition happen.
Great. I noticed in the motion attached there too, on page 10, is a cumulative pledge of achieved subcontracting participation from the original TAF in Amendment 1. And I guess CH2M Hill worked with us in this. Are we pretty much on schedule with this particular item in terms of the plan that they had here on page 10?
Absolutely. I'm confident we're going to meet all the goals associated with that. A lot of the goals are in the staffing requirement. In the beginning of the TOS, it was more heavily related to work actually performed by CH, and that's actually changed as we've progressed through the TOS. So I'm confident we'll be able to meet the goals set out in this TOS.
Okay, and CH obviously helped us in terms of the diversity and the staffing on the jobs as well, right?
Yes.
And I want to just summarize my observations to say that in the past I've had certainly been impressed with the work of CH2M Hill. And obviously I know some of the other contractors are not comfortable with me saying it, but I really do appreciate them in terms of the work that they do, because I've noticed that the results of their work is above and beyond the quality of work that we have received from others as it relates specifically to diversity. I have observed that when they go out to do diversity, they really truly do it with the biggest hit and the biggest bang that the Board of Public Works can receive. And I have the greatest appreciation for it. And I do consider them as one of the models of what we should be getting as it relates to that. So thank you so much for this proposal.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Cinto. Thanks, Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. Dan, good to see you here. Thank you for this. A couple questions. One is that in the funding matrix on page 14, it says TBD for after fiscal year 19. Is that because we're going to go into another TOS, or the $6 million that we're asking right now extends to what period?
Well, the existing TOS that we're in now is for the 18-19 fiscal year. So this TOS ends at the end of the fiscal year. So future fiscal years, that's what will be determined. If this TOS is extended, would be determined in the future fiscal years.
So the augmentation of 6.5 million is just till next June?
Yes.
Till next June, okay. Second question is because Recicla we're in service now, and it's such a large program that changed the paradigm of waste collection in the city. And I don't remember the last time, do you remember the last time we had a report to the board, a presentation on how it's going? Do you remember?
I believe our last presentation of the board was in December of this year.
Okay, so that's 10 months ago. Vice President Penning, I think because it's such an important program for our city of Los Angeles, I'd like to request that we have a quarterly report on Recicla and its implementation, its successes, its challenges, and its opportunities.
Great idea. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I'd be happy to come back.
Because 10 months is a little bit too, knowing that we're in this phase and we're working at all the kinks and trying to get into, however, a 10-year program. It's important that we hear a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
Seemed really fast, though.
10 months is a long time because a lot has happened in 10 months. So if that can happen by the end of the calendar year, I'd greatly appreciate that.
You got it. I think that's a great idea, and I agree with that recommendation. 10 months is a long time, although it probably feels longer for you, Dan. Commissioner Garcia.
Just to the comment of 10 months is not a long time when you're first starting up a program and you're trying to implement it and work out all the kinks and hire other people and so forth. So I do see how 10 months can go really fast without, any stopping. But I do agree with the rest of the commissioners. We would like to hear maybe a quarterly report on this just because it's such a great program, such a program that's now in the city. But my question is just really a clarification question. And I wasn't clear, and maybe you said it through your presentation, with the augmentation, are you saying we'll be able to now hire more city employees?
Yes.
And can I ask how many are these? First of all, my question is, are they entry level? And my second question, how many entry level positions do we have open with this augmentation?
So there's a number of different classifications. So we'd already received 41 positions for our customer care center, and those are considered entry-level positions. Those are customer information representatives, we call them CIRs. And that was already approved in this fiscal year. We have a budget package for another 16 that will be requesting as part of this next fiscal year. The same stands true with our field inspection staff. Those are environmental compliance inspectors, and those are entry-level positions as their first, they can be your first step into the city, can be into an environmental compliance inspector. We already have 24 inspectors right now, full-time, and we're asking for an additional, I think it's another 15 in this coming fiscal year budget process. So those will be new positions. The third budget package will be for our billing unit, and that will be comprised of both entry-level positions and promotional opportunities. Because that will be a new unit, it actually has a hierarchy of supervisors and entry-level staff. So it's a mix, and those will mostly be a mixture of I think it's senior management analysts, and clerical staff for that billing unit.
How many do you plan on hiring?
I believe the number is 12 in total for that unit.
Okay.
That's what we're requesting.
It looks about 60, maybe a little more, 70-something new addition of positions.
New city positions.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Is there a motion on agenda item number 13, moved by Commissioner Davis? I will second the motion. Any objections? Any objections to sending it forthwith? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and approve that and send it forthwith. Thanks, Dan. Agenda item 14. Bureau of Street Services.
Hi.
Hi, hold on, let me read the
Yeah,
item
good-
into the record.
Okay, good
This-
morning.
Hi, let me
are
go
you
ahead
gonna
and
say
read this.
something?
It's going to take a minute, so it's, very long, these tree removals. No, it's not a tree removal, but it's still long. Contract amendment number 1, Wilshire Miracle Mile Sidewalk Maintenance District Project, recommending the board. Number 1, exercise the city's first option to renew the subject contract with Far East Landscape and Maintenance Incorporated to continue providing sidewalk, curb, gutter, and receptacle maintenance services for the Wilshire Miracle Mile Sidewalk Maintenance District for a not-to-exceed amount of $123,818 for November 1st, 2018 to October 31st, 2019. 2, approve the first option to renew the contract with Far East Landscape and Maintenance Incorporated. 3, authorize the president or 2 board members to execute contract amendment number 1 for these services after approval as deformed by the city attorney has been obtained. Number 4, authorize the executive director and general manager of the Bureau of Street Services to issue the notice to proceed and process any other related documents. And 5, delegate and authorize the executive director and general manager of BSS to take the necessary actions to exercise and execute the future second renewal option and process all related documents. Monica Frierson. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
All you.
It's all me. Okay, my name is Monica Frierson, and I'm from the Bureau of Street Services, and I'm the new project manager for this Wilshire Miracle Mile maintenance. We are requesting, as you mentioned, approval to grant Far East Landscape Maintenance another year option for their contract. The original contract began November 1st of last year, and it actually ends October 31st of this year. Far East Maintenance has been responsible for taking care of the maintenance work for the Wilshire Miracle Mile, which includes the sidewalks, the curbs, the gutters, the median maintenance, as well as some of the tree trimming. This new contract option would begin November 1st, and it would extend all the way through to October 31st of next year. Due to the fact that this contract is about to expire, and Far East has done a very, very good job for this past year, we're recommending that the option to renew go forward. And the contract amount that you mentioned was $123,000, which is a 3% higher than the first contract, which is $120,000. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Okay. Do you know offhand how many of these sidewalk maintenance districts we have in the city?
Actually, I don't know that, but I can come back with that information.
Okay. I think there's
Right now, this is the only one
the
that
only
we have
one. That's
active.
what I
right?
thought.
The other-
Yeah. And do we want to do more of these, or do
We
like-
had 2 others that were, could be renewed, but right now it was Van Nuys maintenance, and I can't remember the other one, but neither one of them have taken the option up to do it.
So how is this different than a bid?
Different from a bid. It was a bid. I'm confused when I'm.
Okay. So
Oh, BIP. I'm sorry.
to the Business Improvement District. So I'm just trying to, for the record, explain what a sidewalk maintenance district is. The property owners in this area are paying additional funds to have the sidewalk area, the public right-of-way maintained and kept clean.
Correct.
Okay.
And they pick a company to.
They pick
to
a
the
company, they pay the extra extra maintenance. There's a vote, I assume, to create this?
Correct. And it's assessed through their property, in their property taxes. That's
Okay. Any questions? Commissioner Cinto.
Thank you. Can we make a clarification? Is Far East the contractor, are they a minority business enterprise? Do we know?
That, I don't have that information.
They are not a minority enterprise. The original contract, when it was bid last year, did the outreach, and when the outreach was done, contract administration reviewed the outreach, and there was no MBEWB companies that were awarded the contract because there was any. So there's zero participation, but they did go through the process. They did do the outreach.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will go ahead and make a motion on agenda item number 14. Seconded by Commissioner Garcia. The item will be adopted, referred to the mayor and council. Any objections to us doing so forthwith? Hearing none, we'll send that forthwith. Thank you, Ms. Frierson.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, here comes the tree removal. So just someone, if you need to take a break, go outside, walk around. Agenda item 15, Council District 14. It's a tree removal at 100 South Grand Avenue. Number one, certify the board has reviewed and considered the information in the Environmental Impact Report State Clearinghouse for the project at 100 South Grand Avenue and find the information contained therein appropriately addresses the requested tree removals. Two, find that this project will not have a significant environmental effect under the above described Environmental Impact Report State Clearinghouse as the imposition of the mitigation measures described in the EIR SCH and incorporated herein as project conditions. There is no substantial evidence the proposed project will have a significant effect on the environment pursuant to the city's environmental guidelines and is in compliance with this California Environmental Quality Act. 3, find the project's conflict with any local policies or ordinances protecting biological resources, such as tree preservation policies or ordinances, is less than significant with the incorporation of mitigation measure IV-E as contained in the EIR SCH. 4, specify that the Bureau of Street Services, Urban Forestry Division located at 1149 South Broadway, is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And 5, approve the request for a fee tree removal permit to remove 4 Indian laurel fig, 6 Chinese flame, 6 Mexican fan palms, 2 gold markhamia, and 2 flame trees. Tree replacements are required. Mr. Tim Tyson.
Good morning, Vice President, Repenting, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. The McCormick Compliance Consulting Incorporated are constructing a new project development composed of 1 master lot and 19 airspace lots located at 100 South Grand Avenue. The project will contain a maximum of 400 residential condominium units, 100 residential apartment units, a 275-room hotel, and 284,000 square feet of commercial and retail space. The large development is bounded by 1st Street to the north, 2nd Street to the south, and Olive Street to the east. All streets will be impacted by designated haul routes, material staging, and required street improvements. Mr. Casey McCormick, property owner representative, contacted the Bureau of Street Services requesting the project site be inspected to determine the relationship between the proposed construction and the adjacent street trees. A Bureau arborist inspected the subject location on March 20th, 2018 to determine the project's impact to those existing street trees. The inspection revealed 4 Indian laurel fig trees growing on West 1st Street, 3 Chinese flame trees growing on West 2nd Street, and 6 Mexican fan palms, 2 flame trees and 3 Chinese flame trees, and 2 gold markhamia lutea trees growing on South Grand Avenue. The trees are in fair to poor health, measuring 5 to 29 inches in diameter by 12 to 43 feet in height, planted in 4-foot tree wells and 4-foot by 12-foot tree wells. The 4 Indian laurel fig trees on West 1st Street have been previously root pruned for sidewalk repair. There are pieces of iron from the old tree grates that were placed around the trees when they were planted many years ago that are embedded inside the tree trunk, the main stem. The trunks and their root crowns have continued to significantly disrupt the sidewalks. The root pruning required for required sidewalk, curb, and gutter repair would significantly affect the structural integrity of these trees. The remaining 16 street trees are growing along the streets and sidewalks targeted for closure, for material staging, and within the designated haul route. The developer will utilize the street and sidewalk space for multiple construction activities, including staging for large excavators, dump trucks, and logistical support. Additionally, the project requires clear access for loading, unloading, and hoisting of supplies and material via 3 large overhead cranes. The removed trees shall be replaced with a species that provide shade in addition to other aesthetic and environmental benefits. Nate Hayward, 14th Council District Office, was informed of the tree removal request on October 12, 2018. Notice of the proposed tree removals were physically posted on the subject trees on March 20, 2018. The proposed tree removals were included on the Bureau of Street Services tree removal notification system, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee and Department of Neighborhood Empowerment were also notified. The applicant, if approved today, shall plant a minimum of 32 36-inch box-sized trees on site, which include 8 Australian willow trees on South Grand Avenue, 8 Brisbane box trees on West 1st Street, 6 Brisbane box trees and 3 Virginiana oak trees on South Olive Street, and 7 Brisbane box trees on West 2nd Street. All replacement trees shall be provided irrigation for a minimum of a 3-year period after planting. The additional 8 trees needed to meet the board's 2-to-1 tree replacement policy cannot feasibly be planted at the site. Therefore, pursuant to Los Angeles Municipal Code Section 62177, the applicant shall pay in lieu fees of $1,945 per tree, which is a grand total of $15,560, so the trees can be planted at a further date and time. If you would like to go to the photos that were provided, and you would like to see the ficus trees, they're at the rear of the photo, and you can see that the curbs are damaged. The flow line needs to be corrected. That's the gutter line. The trees have 4x12 or 6x12 openings already. They've already been root pruning on the rear and both sides. It's highly not recommended to try to save these trees. And the other trees, no matter how iconic and how great the image is of the palm tree, we want to replace these trees with shade trees so that the 17-foot wide sidewalk can be shaded in the future for all to enjoy. If there's any questions, I'm here to take any questions you have.
Tim, is this the first time that our in lieu fee has kicked in?
For a board report. We've already started the process with Dr. Fernando Campos for the 2-to-1 replacements that I see at my desk for the board.
Okay.
But this is the first one to come to the board with and ask for the approval for it to go into the cash in lieu.
So, and this is exactly the type of project that we designed the in lieu fee for, where it's a developer. They can afford to pay the full cost of getting those trees back in the ground. So rather than having them as a mitigation, if they can't fit them on site, just deliver the tree to the nursery. We're asking them to pay the full cost of getting that tree in the ground, and we will put the tree back in the ground. It might not be right on this site, but it will go back in the ground at a reasonably nearby location, and we will get to our 2-to-1.
That's all correct as well. For 2 years, per your request and Commissioner Jacinto, the Bureau found all the subject locations for the second tree that would not fit. However, this is a much better way to do this by design. It gives the council office as well as the Bureau more time to feasibly, hopefully, plant a number of trees at one time and be more successful at their survivability and in areas that are definitely in need of trees within this council area.
Okay. And so the total amount that they're paying to the in lieu fee account is $15,560.
That's correct.
Alrighty, that's in addition to planning 32.
36-inch box size trees, not 24s.
Not 24,
We want
36.
larger trees going in, where these developers need to plant larger trees that we can get the tree to become a larger tree sooner. So
Understood. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, Vice President Repenning. Tim, thank you for this. This is a very significant project. It's right across from the Disney Concert Hall. It will replace a parking garage with, a very significant project that is valuated upwards of $1 billion. Residential housing, cross through pedestrian access. So it's a very significant project for our downtown experience and community. So I think there's many great benefits to the entire city. As this project was put forward to our major development case management services with our, led by our building and safety and participated by all our bureaus and led by our B permit team through Ted Allen. And are there any representatives of the project here, Tim, so we can?
I don't know for sure, but there might be.
Gentlemen, can we just, Vice President Repenning, just wanted to allow them to say any few words about the project?
Yes, great.
No, it's across from the concert hall. Could you just describe a little bit from, as a developer representative, the impact that this project will have on our city, sir?
So the project...
What's your name, sir?
I'm sorry, my name is Joseph Pobans. I work for Related Urban. The project is being developed by Core Related LLC. The project is also being designed by Geary Partners, which also designed the Disney Concert Hall. So it's going to complement that whole area and really bring to life the music and arts district more. As described, we have the residential tower and a hotel tower and roughly 3 to 5 levels of retail and F&B places. It should really activate the area that seems to be, growing around it and coming in and really bringing a lot of life to everything. Right now we're working on, you see the Disney projectors going in and those services, so we're working with Disney Concert Hall to activate that well as on a permanent basis. So it should be very exciting for the entire neighborhood.
Thank you, sir. The only thing I would have wanted for our board to see is really a rendering of the project as it is, and that's okay. I think we can go off of this. We understand that part, but it was just such a significant project right across that the articulation and the elevation was really breathtaking, and so just didn't have it here. So
I apologize.
minus half a point. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Commissioner?
No.
Okay. Tim?
Sorry about the half a point. We just want to encourage the board to approve this, and let's make our city better.
Okay. There's an amendment that's been offered by our executive director. Executive officer, what's your title?
And if I could, Fernando Campos.
I just think of you as Doc. That's all I really, it's like, since you got your PhD.
Just a quick friendly reminder to have the board consider adopting this report as amended, and the amendment would be to add in recommendation number 6, to concur with staff's recommendation that the site cannot feasibly accommodate all of the required replacement trees, and pursuant to the Los Angeles Municipal Code 62.177C, authorize the tree replacement guarantee in lieu fee to satisfy the public works planning requirement. Since this is the first time that this board is considering, I think it would just be very clear to memorialize it as part of the recommendations. Although it's already stated in the board report and indicated in today's oral testimony, I'd like to just memorialize it and move that forward.
Great, thank you, Dr. Campos. This is, I know you put a lot of work into getting us to this point, so it's great to see the new policy kick in. And I think Commissioner Jacinto moved, I'll second. Davis and Garcia, another unanimous vote here today.
If I may.
And that's as amended?
Dr.
As amended.
Fernando Campos.
All right.
So in the future, you would like that paragraph to be in the recommendations?
If you could, that would be wonderful.
Well,
yes.
it sounds to me like that's what the board would like.
Yes.
Absolutely then.
Okay, thank you. Any objections to sending this forthwith? Hearing none, we'll do so. Agenda item 17. In Council District 7, contract award, La Tuna Canyon Road Emergency Storm Drain and Embankment Repair Project, recommending the board, number 1, find transmittal number 1 to be unmerited as discussed in this report. 2, declare Environmental Construction Incorporated, ECI, the second low bidder to be found non-responsive as discussed in this report. 3, declare John S. Meek, first low bidder, to be the lowest responsive responsible bidder, award John S. Meek the contract for this project, and authorize the execution of the construction order to John S. Meek in the amount of $2,077,923 with a not-to-exceed limit of $2,313,362.73, including contingency. Craig Kunish.
It's Craig Kunish.
Kunish.
And I'm with the Bureau of Engineering, Geotechnical Engineering Division, and I'm also the project manager on this La Tuna Canyon Road Emergency Storm Drain and Embankment Repair Project. In March of 2018, following the 2017 La Tuna fire, an approximately 314-foot long corrugated metal pipe or culvert running underneath La Tuna Canyon Road became clogged with debris. After removing a substantial amount of debris from the pipe's inlet, inspection revealed that approximately 234 feet of the severely deteriorated pipe, actually let me back that up. Inspection revealed that approximately 234 feet of the pipe was severely deteriorated and 80 feet was clogged and damaged beyond repair. In addition, a portion of the embankment supporting La Tuna Canyon Road collapsed and currently threatens the stability of the roadway. This project will restore the flow of water underneath the roadway by installing a new 332-foot long, 84-inch diameter reinforced concrete pipe culvert. It will also involve constructing inlet and outlet structures on each end of the culvert and backfilling the existing culvert, the existing damaged culvert. The contract duration is 180 calendar days. Now on August 28th of this year, 4 bids were received from the Bureau of Engineering's emergency on-call contractor list. The bids ranged anywhere from $2,077,923 and over that. Immediately following the receipt of these bids, we received 2 letters of protest from 2 of the emergency on-call contractors. One of the communications received was a letter from dated August 29th, 2018, which is shown in transmittal number 1 from Environmental Construction Incorporated, which was the second lowest bidder. And they stated in their letter that the bid proposal submitted by John S. Meek, the first low bidder, should be deemed non-responsive due to the following. Number 1, John S. Meek changed its unit price for bid item number 12, but failed to initial the change as required by the general instructions and information for bidders, note 1C. Number 2, John S. Meek did not complete page number 1-3A of the bid form by failing to list the city's bid or contract number as required by the form. Number 3, John S. Meek did not include a responsibility questionnaire as required by page number 1-3A of the bid form and did not submit page number 13 as indicated on the form. Number 4, John S. Meek's bid was not signed by the required corporate officers. Number 5, John S. Meek did not complete the submitted list of contractors as required by the form. And number 6, John S. Meek did not complete the required Iran Contracting Act of 2010 compliance affidavit. The second letter of protest was received from Clark Contracting Corporation, and it was dated August 29th, 2018, and it's shown in transmittal number 3. In Clark's letter, they stated that the project required bidders to attend a mandatory pre-bid meeting at the project site on August 7th, 2018. The representative from Environmental Construction, Inc. signed the sign-in log and then left the meeting before the meeting was completed. The representative from Environmental Construction, Inc. did not participate in the portion of the meeting where pipe jacking was discussed at the bottom of the embankment. Since pipe jacking is a significant portion of the project, Clark would like to have ECI's bid made non-responsive. Following the receipt of these two letters, the Bureau of Engineering looked at each letter as far as its merits, and based upon that review, it's city's staff response that in dealing with the letter submitted by ECI, page number 1-2A of John S. Meek's bid proposal, shown as transmittal number 5, shows no sign of alteration, and the unit price for bid item number 12 is clearly shown as $84. As a result, there is no need for John S. Meek to initial such a non-existent change. Number 2, under the emergency pre-qualified on-call geotechnical structural construction services contract, projects advertised for bid are assigned a work order number as a contract number. This project has a work order / contract number of E1908378, as shown by page number 1-3B of John S. Meek's responsibility questionnaire, which is shown in transmittal number 5. The correct work order number was provided. It should also be noted that ECI's submitted the same work order number as a contract number on the responsibility questionnaire, shown in transmittal number 6. Number 3, as shown by pages number 1-3A and 1-3B of John S. Meek's bid proposal, shown in transmittal number 5, John S. Meek submitted a responsibility questionnaire with 13 total pages, including all attachments. According to John S. Meek's response, which is shown in transmittal number 4, they interpreted this to mean the total number of pages of their entire bid proposal, and not just the number of pages associated with the responsibility questionnaire. It should be noted that ECI stated that they were submitting 14 total pages, including attachments with the responsibility questionnaire, when they only provided 10 pages, which is shown in transmittal number 6. However, their total bid proposal totaled 14 pages. Number 4, according to documentation provided in John S. Meek's bid proposal, shown in transmittal number 5, and their response in transmittal number 4, Jeremiah Jilk, who is both John S. Meek's Chief Financial Officer and Secretary, is authorized to submit bids on behalf of John S. Meek. As a result, John S. Meek's bid was properly signed by the authorized corporate officers of the firm. Number 5, page number 1-5 of John S. Meek's bid proposal, shown in transmittal number 5, shows that John S. Meek did not provide their subcontractors' license expiration dates. While such information is asked for on the form, it is not specifically required in either the instructions at the top of the page or in the subcontractor listing table header. And number 6, as shown by page number 1-8B, a date executed box on John S. Meek's Iran Contracting Act of 2010 compliance affidavit is blank, transmittal, which is shown in transmittal number 5. The affidavit form is not clear or specific as to which or what entity, contractor or the city, is supposed to provide the date. Now, based on these findings, staff has determined that none of the claims identified in ECI's protest has any merit or is material enough to disqualify John S. Meek's bid proposal as being non-responsive. and addressing the correspondence from Clark Contracting Corporation. According to page I of the project's bid proposal, which is shown in transmittal number 7, a mandatory job walk meeting was to be held on August 7th, 2018. Attendance at this meeting was mandatory for all emergency pre-qualified on-call geotechnical structural construction services contractors who are going to be submitting bids for the project. As clearly stated in the proposal, failure by the bidder to attend the mandatory job walk may result in the Board of Public Works declaring the bid non-responsive. Prior to the start of the job meeting, the contractor's representatives were required to complete a sign-in sheet. Shortly after the meeting started, the representative from ECI was observed by both myself and a representative from Clark Contracting Corporation to be leaving the meeting well before the meeting was completed. Since ECI did not attend the vast majority of the required job walk meeting, staff recommends that ECI's bid be declared non-responsive. Based upon the above findings, it's staff's recommendation that none of the protest items described in Transmittal 1 are grounds for finding John S. Beek's bid non-responsive. It is also staff's opinion that ECI's witness lack of attendance at the mandatory job walk meeting is grounds for deeming ECI's bid non-responsive. Therefore, I recommend that ECI's bid be deemed non-responsive and John S. Meek should remain the lowest responsible bidder. In view of the above findings, I recommend that the board find Transmittal 1 to be unmerited, declare ECI the second lowest bidder to be deemed non-responsive, declare John S. Meek to be the first low bidder, to be the lowest responsive, responsible bidder, and award John S. Meek the contract.
Commissioner Cinto.
Thank you, Vice President Penning. Craig, good job in laying out the whole sequence of protests and transmittals. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
When we had the briefing a couple weeks ago, too, you had another excellent idea to prevent and remove that variable of the mistake regarding the attendance at the pre-bidders, at the bidders mandatory. And can you want to go over that?
Yes. As I mentioned earlier, at the beginning of the mandatory job meeting, I had all the contractors sign in at the time the meeting started. As a lesson learned, in the future, I'm going to have the contractors probably sign in at the beginning and the end, just to make sure that this does not happen again.
Great, Craig. I think that's appropriate, and that's the due diligence that we want to remove any sort of opportunity for non-compliance. And the result is that there was a protest based on that, and it could have been avoided if the contractor, the bidder, was there the whole time instead of just at the beginning too. So I think it's a prudent use of staff discretion to create before and after signing. So very good. So I support this obviously, and John Meeks was the lowest bidder by about, not that much, about $75,000, but it is the lowest responsive bidder. So I support your motion. Thank you.
Is that a motion? All right, I'll go ahead and second it, as well as Commissioner Davis. The item will be adopted. Any objections to sending it forthwith? Hearing none, we'll send that forthwith. Dr. Campos, have I cleared the desk this morning?
Other than
we have an oral report.
Other than the oral report, yes, you have.
That's right. The bridge. There's a tiny little bridge project happening. Who do we have today? We have Shay. I'm the wrong person to ask. Can't help you.
Okay, well, that's fine. I think we could go ahead without the slideshow. Good morning, Vice President Repenning, Commissioners, Bureau Executives, Mr. Jordan, Dr. Campos, Shay Dong with the 6th Street Division. Normally, Julie Allen, our Division Manager, will be presenting these oral quarterly reports, but as you may or may not know, she is currently in our Dispute Resolution Board hearing at this very moment. I'll get into that later in the presentation. So if you guys are looking at the slides, the first slide I have for you guys is a design overview of the bridge structure. Before I get into the progress photos, I just wanted to give you guys a little refresher on some of the major bridge elements and an overview of the bridge structure. So you start with, down at the bottom, the dark green is the CIDH, or the cast and drilled hole piles. Some of those piles extend down as deep as 150 feet. Anything above ground that you see exposed, that is considered the superstructure. And it starts down with the orange item you see there, that is the lower column. And above that, you have the Y bents, and between the Y bent and the lower column, you have the isolation bearings that you can kind of see there, but it's not highlighted. And then you have the arch rib floor beams in kind of a darker blue, and then the jump span edge girders, that's in a lighter kind of a baby blue. And this area right here is called, we call it just a bent. And then between the bents, you have the arch span edge girders that's highlighted in yellow, and the interior floor beams. And above that is what we call, is the deck. And then finally, we have the arch ribs, which are constructed in segments. That's the brown thing that you see up there. And the crisscrossing members are the hanger cables. So this whole area in between the bents, we call it the span. So overall, on the entire bridge, if you look at the figure on top, starting from the approach roadway, you have abutment 1, and at the very easterly end, you have abutment 13. You have bents 2 through 12 in between, and spans 1 through 12 in between. All right, so next slide. All right, so now that we're all bridge experts, let's talk about some of the work that's gone on in the last quarter. Here's a side-by-side comparison from July 20th and just from a few days ago. If you look at the photo on the right, with the exception of bent number 4, all the Y bents are complete. You also notice on the picture on the right, there's some silver grayish looking material in the foreground. That's the false work for the arch rib floor beams at bents 10, 11, and 12. The contractor right now is laying the rebars and the post-tensioning ducts for the arch rib floor beams at these bents. Also, if you squint your eyes a little harder, you may be able to see the false work that's underway on bents 8 and 9. Also during the quarter, the contractor began work at the arch rib floor beams for abutment 13 and the edge girder and the interior floor beams for span 12. Oh, great. All right. So the next slide is another side-by-side comparison of, we're looking south at bents 5 to the right and bent 6 to the left. If you compare the two pictures, you'll notice that in the top picture, the false work for the Y bent on the right side, which is bent 5, it wasn't quite completed yet. And today, the Y bent at 5 has been poured and forms have already been stripped. Okay, this next slide, we're looking at a view of bents 2 and 3. Bent's 2 is west of Santa Fe. Bent 3 is east of Santa Fe. It's also behind Bent 3, before Bent 4. This is the location of the future Arts Plaza. If you look at the picture, you'll notice the ramp down to the tunnel, to the river, underneath the tracks. To help you visualize what the Arts Plaza will look like in the future, go on to the next slide. So this is one of the components of the park project. You'll notice in the background you can still see the entrance to that tunnel. And here's another progress photo. This is a close-up of Bents 9, 10, 11, and 12. We're looking east here. And just to show you the sheer size of the Y Bents, down in foreground to the left of Bent number 9, you can see that that's a 20-ton truck crane. That thing is massive. So even with the outriggers extended, that thing pales in comparison in size to the Y Bent. Okay, next slide. Here is just kind of a snapshot of all the different packages that was issued on the 6th Street Viaduct. We're pretty much complete on all our packages except for package D and package 5. 5, of course, is the largest package on this project. It's the superstructure. Package D, we're almost done. It's the undergrounding for the LADWP high voltage lines near Mission, and will require a temporary closure along Mission Road for this during the undergrounding work to help facilitate the work that's ongoing with also the viaduct work. And I've drafted a board report that's currently in circulation, and I'll be briefing Commissioner Jacinto this afternoon on that. Okay, on to the next slide. Project budget remains the same, hasn't changed during the last quarter. Just recap, 90% of the overall $476 million is from federal and state grants. The numbers that you see here doesn't include the park project and the ATP project. The park is about $33 million, the ATP is about $25 million. And ATP 1 is going out for bid. It was one of the items earlier this morning. We're advertising for that soon. All right, next slide is the change orders. Not a whole lot has changed. We only issued 2 change orders the last quarter. Both of them deduct change orders for a total of minus $10,000. Should be noted that regardless of the ruling on the DBE, which should be in about a month or so, we anticipate on setting a lot more change orders this quarter. All right. Project schedule. Again, not a whole lot has changed. According to the contractor's last schedule update, which we have not approved, by the way, they're currently showing 336 calendar days behind schedule, putting the bridge opening date around late August 2021. We've had some discussions in the last quarter with the contractor on some ways to catch up, but nothing concrete yet. They're out there they're out there on a daily basis working, but their sequence is constantly changing. I think once we have a resolution from the DRB, we think that there'll be a little bit more clarity, not with just the change orders, but also the schedule as well. All right. So that leads me to my last slide, the DRB. The DRB has agreed to hold hearings on up to three different topics. This is our first hearing. It started yesterday. This is the second day of that hearing. This first hearing, they're discussing a $25 million claim that the contractor submitted. They alleged that the bridge design was defective and that the city has directed them to perform additional bridge information modeling, or BIM, to help resolve some of the defective design that they've alleged. We obviously do not agree with the contractor. We think our position is that the contract documents are accurate as is, and the contractor did not properly do the BIM modeling. At this particular hearing, they're only talking about the entitlement or the merit of the claim, so not the dollar amount. And once they've made a decision, like I said, about a month from now, we can resume our negotiations on all those outstanding change orders. So, like I said, we anticipate on issuing a lot more change orders this coming quarter. The decision is non-binding, however, it should still be very helpful in helping help facilitate the negotiations with all those outstanding change orders. And with that, I complete my presentation. Do you guys have any questions?
Commissioner Asinto.
Thank you. Shay, thank you for stepping in for Julie. I appreciate the deconstruction of the bridge, the components for the layperson and for the record, because there's so many different aspects of this incredible project. Speaking globally, and I know that, and it's important that we say the DRB is the Dispute Resolution Board.
That is correct.
And we're at a critical juncture in the negotiations of the 6th Street Viaduct, because we had an original completion date anticipated December 2020. And we understand that the contractor says we're not going to be able to finish, and it is tentatively now 8 months later. So that's, on time, and the other major delivery parameter is on budget, and we are struggling on that issue too as well. So we have to be very clear that the 6th Street Viaduct is at a critical juncture to resolve all these major issues about the modeling, about the merit of the modeling, and then the implications of the change orders that may or may not come because of the merit decision, correct? So, and you say that we're going to get the decision from the Dispute Resolution Board in a month?
About a month. So we're looking at late November.
Okay, all right. And obviously the impact to the project overall is, as it's coming here to the Board of Public Works, it will also be generally known by all the stakeholders, including the council office, including the stakeholders and all the groups too, so that we're daylighting it. And it's important that we do the best job that we can. And I believe that we do have our team with Julie, with Alfred and Gary, and our 6th Street Viaduct city team doing the best to represent our interests and to work as well as we can with the contractor to keep them on time and on budget. That's the expectation of our Board of Public Works, and we don't let any project, big or small, sort of slide on that. That's our expectations, and so we just want to be able to make that statement to the project, to the contractor, that this is our expectation.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Commissioner Asinto.
Commissioner Davis.
So I wanted to be clear. So we are on time and within budget on this project as it currently stands today?
No,
We're not.
that is not correct. Even though we have not approved their latest schedule update, which shows 336 calendar days behind schedule, we cannot deny the fact that the project is behind schedule. Contractually, it's still showing 2020, but in reality, we do understand there is some delay.
Sure.
How much of that? At this very moment, we don't have a very accurate depiction on
Sure.
that.
So obviously in construction work, there are unanticipated, unforeseen challenges that come up. And certainly, obviously, that must be the case here. In addition to those things, delays are not only delays that happen as a result of the contractor, but that oftentimes the approval of right-of-way and other kinds of items that involve us as well occur that further delay. So there is always the reality that, in fact, there might be some challenges unforeseen that help cause the delay. When we look at the involvement of work, do you happen to have knowledge about where we are with regard to the manpower of people involved in being employed in the project, or you don't have that information?
Are you talking about from the city
From
side?
the subcontracting, just a summary of where we are with the involvement of subcontracting and that kind of thing. Have we been able to be successful in terms of our outreach and getting people overall involved in the construction of the project? Have we had major issues there in terms of our subcontracting for this bridge project?
Well, if I understand your question correctly, Commissioner Davis, I believe that the contractor has done all their proper outreach when they started on this project. They had a DBE goal. I think they're currently at about 13% as through September.
And so they are on target with their goal that they have pledged.
If I think they may be a little bit short. I believe.
I see.
Yeah, I think at the beginning or through with the last task order or the last package, I think the overall commitment or pledge was just over 20%. So they may be falling a little short at the very moment.
And do you happen to know, is that because of the lack of people responding, the lack of being able to identify talent to achieve our anticipated goal that they set for themselves? Or what do you happen to know?
I don't have the exact answer to that, but I'm just speaking from a general perspective. Contractors, when they propose on or bid on a certain project, they had some subcontractors in mind. Things happen.
Sure.
Things get swapped around.
Absolutely.
Before they do, they try to make a good faith effort to swap that subcontractor with another qualified DB sub. It may or may not happen. In that case, the DB percentages start dipping a little bit.
Well, this is a Herculean project. It's probably one of the largest ones we have on the table in Public Works today. And so while we do appreciate the anticipated goals, we do realize the challenges that occur in a project this big. I would just finally like to ask you, as you give this report today, how would you summarize where we are with the project, understanding that unanticipated challenges come up in a project? How would you say that we have progressed on this project overall from your perspective to date?
Well, as we currently stand, in reality, the project is about 35% complete. The contractual completion, as I stated, is November of 2020. They're about a little less than 1 year behind schedule, according to their last schedule update, which may not be the most accurate. As I've said, their construction sequencing has constantly been changing. I do believe that after the DRB resolution, we do get some resolution after the DRB hearing. I think both from a change order perspective and a scheduling perspective, we'll have a little bit more clarity.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We will receive the oral report. Thanks for your work, and we'll see you back in here again soon.
Thank you.
Okay, have I now, Dr. Campos, cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
All right, then we'll go ahead and adjourn today's meeting of the Board of Public Works. Thank you and have a great day.